In today's episode of Modern Combatives, we find ourselves in North Stonington, Connecticut to get together with father and son martial arts duo Charlie and Jared York. Charlie York Sensei is the student of Marshall Mays alumnus Grandmaster Kenneth Melbourne, the style Kempo Jitsu. His son Jared, beginning his martial journey at age 4, has competed in Naga submission fighting and MMA, getting into the octagon on a handful of times to get it done. I'm excited to see what they have in store for us, so let's get to it. Having grown up in New England my whole life, you'd think I'd be fine with the snow, but I'm not, so I'm gonna hurry this part up. You know, I can't say it enough, I absolutely love the home dojo.
Konnichiwa! Welcome to the Marshall Mays. I mean, well, you should be welcoming me. I'm welcoming myself.
Come on in. Welcome to York's Martial Arts.
All right.
I started my martial arts journey when I was 4 years old. I come from a line of martial artists. My grandfather's a black belt. My great-grandfather was a Golden Gloves boxer. My father has been a martial artist since he was about 15 years old. He started off boxing and then he moved to Taekwondo. So he's had me on the mats my entire life. I started at 4 years old, and I've been on the mats for 26 years non-stop.
From competing in grappling tournaments known as Naga to fighting in the cage, Jared York strives to be the complete package when it comes to the martial arts.
I learned from both my father and Master Ken Melbourne. Ken Melbourne is the founder of Kempo Jitsu, and he's my father's instructor. He's a 10th Dan black belt in Kempo Jitsu, and he's a brilliant martial artist, and he's been a huge influence on both mine and my father's martial arts experience. The sport helps to attract students that want to compete, that want to do that sport side. A lot of guys wrestle their whole lives, and then when high school or college ends, they don't have a sport to compete, so they start competing mixed martial arts. And that brings in more people to A, elevate Kempo Jitsu in its status, and B, have fun with it. You know, at the end of the day, we like to have fun with martial arts. To where the street, the life or death situation style of martial arts, anything that you need to defend your life. If you're being unfortunately mugged, attacked, these are the things that you would use to both end a fight very quickly or avoid a fight altogether.
If you want to sting them once, just to make sure you got it, fine. I wouldn't keep stinging them because it gets old. But guys, if you're the uke and they're missing that point, especially that one right there, put their hand on it, put their wrist on it, because the most important thing is touching that point. You hit that as hard as you want and miss that point, it's not going to work.
So, if I don't want to strike with him, I'm going to use my strikes to set my takedown up. So I'm going to throw a 1-2 here. He's going to block. He's going to come with his counter hook. When he does, I'm going to slip under, and I'm going to use my legs, this leg position, squat position, to drive into him, grab both his legs, drive off his back foot, and use my head to drive him to the floor. I get right here, I wrap his legs up, and use my head to steer my body off to get a good side control.
Now in real time.
I started. When I started, you asked somebody if they knew what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was. Nobody knew. It was a very, very small, very niche martial art to start in the United States. And as the culture, as it's gotten more popular, MMA's got more popular, and BJJ tournaments have got more popular, it's blown up. It's a culture. You see Hollywood stars with BJJ blue belts and purple belts nowadays, and it's crazy, man. I love seeing it. I love being immersed in that culture. It's very humble, very welcoming culture, and it's one of those arts that they say is for everybody, and I believe all martial arts is for everybody.
So after my takedown, I've maintained a strong side control. I have my opponent's jaw facing away from me. I have control of his far side arm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this head side arm, I'm going to reach, grab the elbow. This inside arm is going to scoot back. I'm going to chalk into his hip to give him something to roll over. I'm now going to scoop my legs over towards his head and step my outside leg over his head, maintaining my chest pressure. I'm going to drive off this left leg and turn him to his side and pinch my knees together. I now pin his arm to my chest, sit back, grip his wrist with my right hand, and grab my own wrist with my left hand. If I'm in a sports situation, I'm going to slowly turn till I get the tap. If I'm in a life or death street situation, I'm going to turn and break it. So, if I cannot get this shoulder lock, say he grabs his own shirt, I can transition to an arm bar. So I will step my left leg up, use my shin to drive into his small ribs. My right leg will step towards his head and scoop his head underneath me. I will sit my butt down, bring his arm to my chest, and see how his shoulder's nice and high off the ground? The higher the better. It gives me a better fulcrum to bend this arm over. I will drive my hips to the sky, just drive him down with my feet, and pull down on his hand till I get the tap.
Now in real time.
I began my martial journey when I was 15 years old. I started boxing. I was Golden Gloves 2 years in a row in middle school down in Tennessee, where boxing is very popular. And that's where I started. I learned Kempo Jitsu from Ken Melbourne. One of the best instructors I've ever been around, probably the best instructor I've ever been around. A wealth of knowledge. I mean, and you'd have to actually practice Kempo Jitsu to understand how nasty it really is, basically. Even with even doing it easy, if your knuckles hit that elbow, you can feel it. I mean, once we get a little faster at it, maybe we'll put those set of gloves on the first throw and punch, then we can really start to make it work. But for now, just let it touch. Just get it in your head. It's just like driving a clutch. 3,000 times you gotta do something before your body starts training. That's what you want. You want your body to do it without you having to think about it at all. Because in a real situation, you're gonna have nerves. There's going to be stuff going on. You're not going to be standing on mats. You're going to be standing on the street. So everything will be different. What's up, Ray?
How's it going? I just really like his chicken feet.
He loves them. You ought to see that. Take him out of the bag. It's hilarious. She puts real gloves on. My elbows. It's not like touching.
I don't like it. I don't like when it's
I feel like if you're not going forward, then you're backing up. What I started with, which was boxing to Taekwondo to Kempo Jitsu, it was just all going forward, more and more and more. Then I got into judo, then I got into ground fighting, then I got into stand-up grappling, and just to this day, I still learn more. Talking to you today, I learned something, and that's the way I like it. The modern stuff, I kind of like the modern stuff, but I really like the pre-1900 martial art. The stuff before it was a sport, when it was meant to save your ass, when it was meant for combat. That was kind of my favorite.
That's clearly why you continue to teach Kempo Jitsu.
Absolutely, man.
Yes.
Something like that, so don't even try. You grab, you use your body, your shoulder, everything together. You flip it over, bang, you take it over. Take it off, here. Now from here, you can either pop the belly, the head, or you can go up that pressure point that's right on that, right above that knee over there, and that hurts like hell. If you guys are upper rank, you should be able to hit that pressure point without killing your partner. But if you're not, then just touch it. Get used to touching it. That's the most important. You can always add speed after.
So, what are the major differences between the sport side of the martial arts and the combative side? What would you say the major
Rules.
differences?
When you're practicing for a sport and you're going out and competing in front of people, you have rules. You got things you can't do. And when you're fighting for your life, you're in a combat situation, there's no rules. Headbutt, bite, take an eyeball out, all of that is it's where you go, you know, it's how you end a fight. And all of it, I mean, do what you have to do to make it work. And when you have fighting by a set of rules, you can't do that. I tell my students, the ones that train to compete, not to forget about your teeth. You know what I mean? About headbutting, because this stuff works in the real world. Not that MMA isn't tough, it is. It's as close as you can get to a real fight and having rules. But in the street, somebody grabs you, there's no ref to stop them, you ain't tapping out, they can have anything on them. It is a real life-threatening situation, and you need to know and be able to go maybe where you can't go when you have rules. There's so many different things you can do with that shark fin. Other than that, you know, you can walk people around all day with it without causing a lot of damage. All right, you got the grab, all right? Instead of palming the hand over and just trying to yank it off, because you're not going to do that if an opponent is real strong. He's got in your gi and everything else. You're going to use your body. You're going to pin his arm to your chest, so he's part of you. Raise your shoulder, bring it down. So you got that finger straight up towards the ceiling. Got the elbow locked. Reinforce it. Both hands. Snap that into that pressure point there. Slide down. Bring it up. And see the twist of the arm right there? Snap.
Now in real time.
All right, same thing again, grab. This hand comes up, striking the forearm there, cutting it in towards you. It's like a scooping move. At the same time, this one's hitting the pressure point right behind the elbows, which as you can see, stings. I bring it around, pull it tight to my body. Scoop up the gi if they have it, or the neck. Kick out the knee, or the pressure point right above the knee that we struck before.
Yes, right there, that look of pain. Pressure point manipulation hurts.
Speed fighting. All right, it's hitting certain points, keeping your hands close, using hip. The guy throws a punch, the first one just keeps you from getting hit. Here, controlling the arm again, here. Then after we leave here, it's a chicken wrist right, as you can see, I've already popped them a bunch of times in that same spot. But again, throws a punch, here. Now, once we're here, we're holding on, not tight, but we're sweeping that leg. We got the weight going that way, so we're just wrapping the leg, pulling it out. Just like that.
Nice.
The way I was taught that, though, is to do it correctly, they should be landing right there. Is that the way you were taught it? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Shouldn't be a throw or a push. Should be a
No,
scoop.
it's a-
Straight drive.
It's a straight drop. Oh, Uchigari.
What you got? Excellent.
Yeah.
Your son is you guys teach together, and listen, you got to be a beaming dude because it's your son. I mean, like all the martial artists I met, it's rare that we have our children keep our traditions going. So how does that make you feel?
Absolutely excellent. It's one of the. It might be my crowning achievement in this life, to be honest. I mean, he might be more into it than me. And I mean, how often does that happen? You know, usually the son's like, "No, that's what Dad does. I don't want no part of it." I started him at 4, and he has had his own mind with it ever since. And now I got a grandson who hopefully is going to do the same thing too. But yeah, like I said, I mean, a lot of people want to buy big houses and stuff like that. My son following me in this area is probably my proudest thing.
That's awesome.
So what did we learn on today's visit? First, Kempo Jitsu is alive and well, and Grandmaster Ken Melbourne should definitely be proud. Charlie's holding it down, sir, as you knew he would. Also, this next generation coming through, you guys aren't looking too shabby yourselves. And we at the Martial Maze salute you. Keep putting in the work.
Gentlemen, wow, I gotta tell you, going from sport to pragmatic martial arts, Kempo Jitsu, I mean, we've known each other a long time, so this man, he comes from, he's no joke, and he comes from serious lineage. And then father to son, I mean, wow. I'm flabbergasted, so it get me to stop talking is like, you know, it's kind of an act of Congress. But so we'd like to thank you both for being on Modern Combatives. So if anybody is in the area, because I always say Rhode Island, and I know this ain't Rhode Island, this is Connecticut.
North Stonington.
It's Stonington, Connecticut. So if somebody's trying to find you, how would they find you? Don't look at me, tell the folks.
All right, Jerry, go ahead.
You can mostly contact me through Facebook. I'm not a big social media guy. My name is Jared York. Our gym is in North Stonington, Connecticut, and I'm always open to accepting new people. As long as you show respect, you're always welcome at my place.
No, what's the name of this place again?
York's Martial Arts Academy.
You forgot to tell us it was York's Martial Arts Academy. So, once again, gentlemen, thank you. Jared York,
A lot of
Charlie
fun.
York.
A lot of fun.
Yes, it was a pleasure. We out.
Next week on Modern Combatives, we find ourselves in Jacksonville, Florida, to get together with K&A Accessories owner and founder, Alto Daniels. Well, if you haven't guessed it, this is a firearms episode. There's nothing more Modern Combatives than a firearm, so this is going to definitely be an educational and exciting experience. Can't wait for it. See you next week.